Is Soldier Boy actually dead? Are we getting a V-zombie? Will Homelander gain the admiration that he truly desires, and will Butcher really sacrifice everybody for his own selfish gain? Well, I wanted to theorize about what's on the horizon and share what I think could happen. Here is The Boys Season 5 Episode 3 Theories Explained. Soldier Boy's immunity and Homelander's search for V1. One of the biggest questions at the end of episode 2 was centered around the fact that it seemed like Soldier Boy was killed by the virus that Butcher and Samir had been working on after becoming the guinea pig before they planned on using it on Homelander. However, as we saw, just when Homelander thought that he was dead and began mourning his father, we saw that Soldier Boy sat up in a very strange way. A way that looked unnatural, and he had his eyes closed. Within my breakdown, I thought that Soldier Boy could well be dead and maybe the virus that was inside of him, because it was mixed with a different type of compound V, V1. It might have interacted differently and looked to take control. However, it seems like something else could actually be happening. It very much seems like because Soldier Boy possesses V1, the virus isn't actually going to be strong enough to be able to kill him. In fact, judging by the other clips that we saw in the trailer for the rest of the season, it seems like Soldier Boy is going to be able to return to full health and essentially shake the virus off like it's a common cold. Maybe his initial reaction to the virus caused him to fall to the ground and draw his last breath because his system hadn't really begun to fight back against it yet. V1 is said to essentially make an individual immortal and prevent aging, so a virus is something that isn't going to be able to wipe out the character. I reckon we'll see Soldier Boy turning up back at Homelander's door, and there'll be a sense of frustration at first because he'll be annoyed at the fact that Homelander never told him about this virus that had the capability of killing Supes that he was basically walking blindly into. But once they get past that, we'll see Homelander discovering V1, its full capabilities, and then realizing that that could be his key to having immunity like his father. I do actually wonder if Soldier Boy and Homelander might end up becoming enemies by the end of the season. With Homelander going on his quest to find V1, if he doesn't end up finding it and doesn't get the immunity to the virus that he desires, I wonder if Soldier Boy might no longer want to take orders from a Supe that can be defeated by something that's out there and is so deadly. So I wonder if they'll eventually become unrest between the both of them. Homelander's mind is in a state right now where it's as fragile as it's ever been. All he wants is to be admired by everybody, but without fear being the sole reason that they do. And with that being something that he's not currently able to get, and him also having fear ingrained within him because he knows that Butcher and Starlight are after him. And with him now having stared what the virus can do directly in the eyes when seeing his father laying there on the stretcher, that'll be an image that he's not going to be able to shake from his mind. He's never had to face the idea of his own mortality, but with that being at the center of his mind, I think we could end up seeing an even more ruthless Homelander over the course of the next few episodes. We might even get it in the next episode when he believes that his father is still dead. Sister Sage did make Homelander promise to not lose it if Soldier Boy died, but I feel like we're gonna see a loose cannon version of Homelander. I do also somehow feel like we're gonna see a storyline like we had with A-Train, but with the Deep. However, there won't be any kind of redemption for him because he's a terrible person at his core. We know that the Deep is deeply frightened of Homelander, and there isn't anything that's going to change that. Homelander doesn't respect him, and all the Deep can do to stay alive is just go along with every word and command that Homelander gives him. We're seeing signs of him wanting to back away, and we're also seeing that he's quite literally petrified of him. The scene when Homelander had his hand on his neck, and also when the Deep peed his pants, it gave it away the most. I think we're going to end up seeing the Deep being killed by Homelander, and sadly for him, I don't think there's any way out of it. The Deep just simply can't be a hero because of the person that he is, and he's shown no signs of redemption at all. He'll just want to back away because he'll be fearing for his safety. Butcher will doom the country and cause division. Another arm of the story that I think we're going to see being developed is the mindset that Butcher has. Butcher wants to kill Homelander just as much as Homelander wants to kill him, and also wants people to love him. Their stories were once contrasted with each other, but now, as we're building towards the ending, they're actually beginning to become parallel to each other because of the blinded obsessions that they have. This is something that's going to cause even more division amongst the group. With the group believing that Soldier Boy was able to be killed by the virus, when they find out that he wasn't, this could lead them to go in two different directions. The first is that Butcher and Samir might then begin working on a new strain of the virus so that it could potentially do harm to Supes with V1, or it might lead Butcher to want to just act fast and instead just look to release the virus so that there isn't any time for Homelander to find any way of reducing the effects of it and building immunity. We've seen that Butcher is prepared to die for this cause as long as he gets to stand over Homelander, look him in the eyes and tell him that he's won. So if any other soups get harmed in the process, he doesn't care in the slightest. It's something that we know the likes of Annie and Kimiko don't mind either, because they believe that 10,000 soup lives aren't worth as much as 8 billion human ones. However, this is where I think Huey will become a bit of an issue for Butcher. It's always been said how Huey doesn't have a backbone and how he's the weak one out of them all, but I think this will be the line that he's not going to be able to cross. The idea of condemning 10,000 lives, but it also meaning that Annie, the love of his life, would die at the hands of Butcher is something that I don't think he's going to allow to happen. Even though she's okay with it because she believes enough people have already died fighting in her name, he's just not going to have it. I wonder if this could lead Huey to also reveal to Samir that Butcher was the person that killed Victoria Newman. So if Samir was going to be working on a different version of the virus, that might be the very thing that makes him no longer want to go along with it, because he'd no longer view Butcher as an ally. This could also mean that the likes of Frenchie and Mother's Milk might turn against Butcher too, because they won't necessarily agree with the way that he's acting. We saw Mother's Milk saving the Countess of Crows, an innocent soup, so I think that's the first sign of Mother's Milk having some moral line in all of this. Like how Homelander is a madman on a mission, Butcher is too, and he doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. Is Cindy truly gone? Now, there's one soup in particular that we've been drip-fed throughout the entirety of The Boys, and that's Cindy. We first saw her when she escaped the facility, we then saw her at the end of Season 4, and we most recently saw her in this season in the opening episode when she managed to escape Butcher's attack on her. Now, I feel like she's definitely going to have an important role to play in this season in some capacity. Her powers are so strong, and even though we saw Butcher neutralize her, we know for a fact that she can do a lot of damage with the ability to make people explode in the way that she does. I don't think this will be the last of Cindy and she'll come back before the end of the season. She's been too much of a soup in the making for that to be the last that we see of her. For now, those are the main talking points and theories that I think we could see taking place in the next episode. Homelander's fragile mind, Soldier Boy surviving, the discovery that the virus doesn't defeat V1, and Butcher's brash throw caution to the wind attitude.